Good morning, guys. It's 20 something of December, 22nd, I think, 21st. And I can't find my hair cutters, so unless I want to come on camera looking like Don King or Bigfoot, I'm afraid you're going to have to be treated to me wearing this stupid tea cosy hat. So anyway, I thought today that I'd post an answer to the Friendly Atheist Hemant Mehta's video, 10 reasons or 4 reasons why atheists should teach their kids about Santa, and this comes in the form of 100 reasons why an atheist should not teach their kids that Santa is real. So the first thing is Hemant claims that teaching your kids about Santa is training wheels for when they learn about God. That it teaches critical thinking, but it doesn't teach critical thinking. It teaches magical thinking. It teaches them that in a world of rules and form and structure, that there are exceptions to that, where things completely don't behave according to any normal laws, where a man can fly and break the laws of physics, and you know, it doesn't help them at all. It teaches the complete opposite of critical thinking. If the goal is to teach critical thinking, then teach the story of Santa, and then have a discussion about whether or not it could be real and why, and analyse the story. You know, don't teach the story as fact, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And point number 2 is that if your idea is to teach them critical thinking, why are you reinforcing the lie? For example, when I was about 7 or 8, and I just started to suspect that Santa wasn't real, but my brother was still adamant that he was. My brother was 4 at the time. I asked my mum if Santa was real, and she kind of asked me, well, what did I think, blah blah blah, but she still wanted to maintain the fiction for my brother. So rather than telling me that he wasn't real and admitting it, she actually reinforced the lie, as many parents do. Just when their kids start to question, my mum went and put Santa footprints out. We lived in an apartment block, a tenement block, I guess you'd call it, on the 2nd floor, and my mum went and put Santa footprints up on the windowsill. That was where Santa had apparently come in through the window, and you know, it screwed up my logic for another year, just when I was starting to evaluate whether or not it could be true. And there are lots and lots of situations like that where parents deliberately come up with lies to counter the kid's logic. So a child would logically say, well, how can Santa get round so many houses at night? And parents will come up with some excuse for that, or why is it that Santa is in so many different stores? They'll come up with a logical excuse for that, which ruins their children's evaluation process, because the rules that they think they believe in have these exceptions. So, you know, don't tell me that this is here to help kids gain critical thinking, because it's deliberately constructed to defeat their critical thinking. Also, I think that the whole Santa myth is about adults' pleasure abusing their kids' innocence, and their willingness to trust. You know, I think it was Richard Dawkins talked about the potential evolutionary cause of religion, whereby it was absolutely essential that people trusted their seniors, because you don't have time to work out for yourself all the rules of life, you know, that what's poisonous, what's dangerous, that kind of thing. So it's inbuilt in human beings to trust, particularly our parents and also you know, seniors. So abusing that relationship just for the sake of, you know, let's say in a most charitably that it's because you enjoy seeing your children happy. Well, you know, that's a pretty weak reason to abuse a really fundamental relationship that adults have with kids. Also, Hemant said, you know, that they eventually work out that Santa doesn't exist. Well, just thinking about most of the kids I know, they don't work it out. Somebody tells them that it's not true. And then I guess it's a bit like atheism, really. That first of all, the first theists discover that God doesn't exist is when they hear the atheist-theist debate. It's not when they consider his works generally, it's when they hear the discussion, and then that causes them to question. So some people read the Bible or consider the stories, but most of us are kind of accepting of the most ridiculous woo-woo, to use Claire's term, and until we're given a reason to question that. So again, it's not helping them to develop an evaluative process. It's just that eventually there comes a point when the weight of evidence from their friends or the weight of peer pressure from their friends is so great, more likely, that they have to give up that belief. Also, another reason for disbelieving Santa, for not teaching Santa, is because it's yet another idea. Is the whole idea of it, if you've been naughty or nice, it is really just a precursor for the grander scheme of heaven and hell. If you behave as you're ordered to behave, then you have an eternity in heaven. And if you show any independent thought, or you choose to live how you want to live, then you're going to pay forever for it. And really the whole process of kind of bullying kids into compliance with your will, with threats and promises, is it seems to me to be not a very noble way to raise kids in the first place, to be honest. I guess you could say that it teaches the idea of conditional love, that you will only receive the benefits of that relationship if you are good, and if you are not good, then that relationship will not work for you at all, which completely summarises the idea of God. And any parent who had a relationship like that with their kids would be a bad parent, wouldn't they? I guess for some people, you create a fiction that lasts, let's say 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, over the course of the number of years that the child actually is thinking about Santa. But yeah, it creates a lifetime of cynicism. Again, Hemant might argue that's healthy cynicism, but I think that there's a line between cynicism and critical thinking. And I remember for me, when I discovered that my mother would lie against my best wishes, or against my best interests rather, when I was about 15 or 16, that was a real wake-up call for me. That was a real slap in the face, because it never occurred to me that my mother would ever do anything that was against my interests to put her interests ahead of mine, and that was a real maturing moment for me. And I think that when you discover that the whole Santa thing is made up, that makes you question your fundamental relationship with your parents for a little while. And I know a lot of you guys say, well, it did me no harm, but I personally, I saw one response where a lady called Alison said that it made me feel silly and foolish, and that's pretty much how I felt. I felt that there was a big joke and it was on me, and I wasn't a particularly insecure kid, far from it in fact, but that was just like, why would you tell me this stupid thing that makes me look stupid in front of all my other friends, that I fiercely argued for, because you told me it was true, that I lived in a world where whatever you said was true, that I would stake my life on, and I did that with my friends, and then it turned out to be wrong, and I looked stupid. Again, I guess it teaches kids mixed messages about strangers. That we're trying to teach kids all along these rules, which are for their own safety, about strangers, that you don't ever accept candy from strangers. That's one of the 3 big ruses, isn't it? That's used to open a conversation with kids. If you're up to no good, is offering them candy. And then on Halloween and Christmas, we completely break that rule and say, well, provided strangers are giving you gifts, then that's absolutely fine. And it doesn't teach them nuanced thinking, because you don't teach the rule set by which by which the kids can evaluate when it's okay to accept gifts and when it's not. It's just basically if the kids are smiling and got a beard and a funny costume, or if you've knocked on their door, then it's absolutely fine to accept gifts from strangers. It's fine to talk to strangers. It's even fine to sit on a strange man's knee when there's no adults around. It's a really strange message there that you're teaching kids. One of the strangest ones that Hemant said was that it's no fun to just teach a kid, hey kid, God doesn't exist. That's not fun, that's indoctrination. When was child raising ever about what's fun for you or for them? Child raising is about doing what's best for them. Putting a smile on a child's face is a wonderful thing, but not at the expense of their reasoning skills. So I would say that the truth is never indoctrination. So if you say to a child, well, there's no Santa, just black and white, especially in response to a question, then that's not indoctrination. That's an honest response to an honest question, and there's no more noble thing that a parent can do. So to place your entertainment or their entertainment ahead of the truth seems to me to be a kind of a crappy motive, really. Another reason is I think that the whole Santa mythos is never taught in the context of some greater nobility. It's taught simply as a story about getting things, and I don't actually think that reinforcing the commercialism of Christmas, the idea that there's this day when you can be as avaricious as you like, and the funny thing is in my house, Christmas was all about, Christmas Day, when you get up and you get stuff, but then if you ask for stuff and if you ask for too much stuff, don't be greedy. Well, hold up. You've taught me that this is a day when I'm supposed to just want stuff and get stuff. And, the other thing in my house at Christmas was the annual argument, so I'm really not much of a lover of Christmas anyway. Another one of Hemant's arguments is that it teaches kids to challenge their parents in a safe way. Well, to be honest, if kids are not comfortable to question their parents before the age of 8 or 10 or whatever age they first question the Santa story, then I would say you've got a pretty crappy relationship with your kid anyway. If you want your kids to be able to question you, then you should be having discussions. And I work with kids, and I would expect that even a child of 5 or 6 could question me, and I would offer my reasons for doing something, and I would invite them to think about those reasons. I wouldn't just enforce them on them, unless it's for their safety, because I want to encourage those critical reasoning skills quite early on, so if you're waiting till that late age for them to be able to question you, then I would question your parenting in the first place. Hemant says, why make them the odd one out at school? Which I suppose is what the one who doesn't believe in Santa. Well, that is a really shitty reason for not teaching them the truth about Santa, or for at least not teaching them about Santa. Why make them the odd one out at school? Because it makes them stronger. Because going with the herd is a bad thing. Because they will eventually be the odd one out who still believes in Santa, because they may be the odd one out in a million different ways at school anyway, and this is excellent practice for them, because they will actually be the smart one by being the odd one out, because you can have different traditions that are not based around a fantasy figure who sneaks into your house at night. There's a million reasons why you should want your child to be comfortable being the odd one out at school. Number 12, Hemant says it's because teaching Santa is just harmless fun. The same argument could be applied to a belief in God. We just make up a fantasy because it's just harmless fun. Damn, this hat is scratchy. A lot of Christians say, well, why do you oppose Christianity? It's just harmless fun. Why do you oppose belief in the afterlife? It's just harmless fun. Well, the thing is that because it's not just harmless fun, because it screws your mind up. It changes your fundamental worldview, and which leads me to I guess I was joking when I said that there's 100 reasons here, because my reasons 12 to 100, 13 to 100, are all the same thing, and that's because it's not fucking true. Why would you indoctrinate your child, teach your child a lie as a truth, for no benefit other than to put a smile on their face? In what other area of life? I mean, you could make up any lie, couldn't you? I mean, you could just make up a lie. Well, I suppose parents do, the Tooth Fairy, or, the Easter Bunny, or whatever. They fill their kids with stupid fantasy lies, and then they wonder why they can't tell the difference between fact and fiction. And, they have imaginary friends, and they get taught not to have them, unless, of course, it's God. But it's seen as a sign of mental instability if they have their magic friends too long, or their imaginary friends for too long. If they start believing in fantasy things, they're considered crazy. But when you teach them fantasy things, it's considered to be just a part of raising them. So look, don't teach them lies as truth if you want them to grow up to be sensible kids. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, guys, I'm a bit of a bar humbug moment. I'm not a big lover of Christmas myself anyway, but I wish you happy holidays anyway, and you take care. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take the time to rate and comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe. Thank you.